I wish I knew how to quit you, Tumblr. That was a quote I came across on the internet, which reminded me of the hot trends of 2015 when those black and white Tumblr girl drawings were all over my friends' phones. I recall being in elementary school and not having Tumblr at the time, but one of my cousins was frequently using the app, so I was quite familiar with its features. Now, I was fascinated as a child when she would upload her hopeless romantic playlist and share her poems to her page because it was certainly in contrast to what I used to call artistic back in elementary school. Back to the quote I mentioned earlier, unfortunately, Tumblr is now commonly known as one of the obsolete or outdated apps to ever exist. But just like what John Green said in his quote, I wish I knew how to quit you, Tumblr. The spirit of Tumblr never dies, and instead, another era begins. This is Gen Z and the phenomenon of internet aesthetics. Internet aesthetics, one of the most overwhelming modern topics to be dissected. It includes a range of themes and issues that must be investigated in order to discover the value behind its existence. The term internet aesthetic signifies the visual identification of an online subculture. Dark academia, Y2K, grunge, cottagecore, and so on are some of the most popular aesthetics you can find on the internet. Now, aesthetics are originally design principles that are intended to be compilations of various style inspirations that we enjoy. People can display their creativity in a variety of ways, including mood boards, videos, and collages where communities often share their music playlist, room decorations, fashion inspo, and the list goes on. This internet phenomenon existed before the COVID-19 pandemic, with niche memes and starter packs that provided some type of guidance to become the aesthetic you desired. However, with the help of TikTok, internet aesthetics has now gained more audience admiration during the lockdown era when it became popular within the Gen Z public. Pinterest and TikTok are two of the most well-known platforms that have contributed to the widespread appeal of internet aesthetics. The engrossing style of internet aesthetics is commonly viewed as a positive movement. However, it does come with its own set of downsides, which can negatively affect the large and diverse audience of the internet, especially when it comes to Gen Z. People tend to overly romanticize and conform their individual styles and behaviors to certain aesthetics, which can lead to several disadvantages. Now, before I dive deeper into its dark sides, let's try to trace back where this phenomenon originated. The term aesthetics refers to a philosophical study concerned with the appreciation of beauty and artistic taste. It covers the theory of beauty, although it becomes difficult to define the term precisely. Nonetheless, new perspectives on this theory have recently emerged. Aesthetics examines both natural and artificial elements which are commonly conveyed through experience and judgment of beauty. It studies what happens in a person's mind when they interact with aesthetic objects. For instance, when reading literary novels, listening to music, or admiring visual arts. Aesthetics is derived from the Greek word aesthetikos, meaning pertaining to sense perception. It is used to classify works of art based on their mood and visual similarities throughout different mediums. Many senses are triggered by the aesthetics you discover on the internet, including nostalgia, sorrow, surrealism, fascination, and other combinations of emotions. You'll see comments like this if you spend a lot of time on TikTok or Instagram. This may differ from the definition we discussed earlier, but this is where they may complement each other. When people refer to something as aesthetic, they may imply that the mood or visual of the object reflects one or more of the senses I mentioned before. In this case, aesthetics is no longer a noun but is employed as an adjective. It has a close resemblance but a completely different connotation. Aesthetic can now become the synonym of words to describe beauty, most likely in an informal context. Aesthetics discusses themes of nature and characteristics in which people associate creativity with beauty in art, expressions, and scenery. This raises the question of how humans react to the aesthetic experiences. What impact does aesthetic have on our daily interactions and behaviors? What effect would aesthetic preferences have on a person's identity? Isn't it a good thing that people are discovering beauty inspirations for their own unique styles? This is where it starts to go downhill. R.G. Collingwood, an English philosopher, recognized that art is commonly implemented as an escape from reality, acting as an amusement or distraction to people. I learned about the term magic art from a YouTube video, which would be art that teaches the audience how to interact with the realities of this world better. Rather than simply running away from reality, magic art helps us live better lives. Our bodies require a wide range of emotions in order to function properly. Aristotle's thoughts have now made me understand the value of this internet trend. Internet aesthetics, in my opinion, can now be classified as magic art. This is where internet aesthetics step in for people who seek pure escapism to escape into a world of fantasies or who wish to live better in a community where they can feel a connection with others. But how? That's the question. Aesthetics is essential for those who want to experiment with various styles. They appeal to individuals who are attracted to a specific appearance yet lack the words to articulate it. They have trouble categorizing distinct styles. In this instance, aesthetics encourages us to discover our true selves by supporting us in identifying with a predetermined aesthetic. Do you enjoy reading classical literature and studying in an ancient library? Consider dark academia. Do you want to try on a rich and classy look? Try the old money aesthetic. Or maybe you're a Lana Del Rey stan. Think of coquette or vintage Americana. There are unlimited aesthetic options available on the internet. However, this poses many unspoken dangers, to the point where it progresses to be toxic. TikTok is especially popular among younger generations, with 25% of their users aged 13 to 19. And you already know what it is, Gen Z. We're all under the age of 25, so we can all agree that we're still trying to figure out who we are. We believe that aesthetics will save the day, but no. Our continuous exploration of styles with the assistance of predetermined aesthetics will have an impact on our lives, which will progressively be viewed through the perspective of specific aesthetics. We would constantly watch and judge our own identity and then adjust our behaviors based on the aesthetics that we desire to be. Many of us consume media or develop certain habits not because we enjoy them, but because we want to be perceived as a certain type of person, such as being trendy, fashionable, cool, or mysterious and edgy. Now, following a celebrity or public figure's style and behaviors based on their aesthetics will also lead to us not achieving our initial intention, which was to figure out who we are. This becomes the individual's primary issue. It doesn't really matter how specific styles, labels, and other external circumstances influence someone who has a strong self-concept. However, we live in an age when we are currently attempting to discover our true selves by experimenting with what makes us feel most comfortable. When a person's self-concept is not yet secure, they are continually striving and experimenting due to their uncertainties, which leads them to follow what is in their immediate surroundings. Finding your self-concept would be difficult because there are two types of people: the expressive, who knows exactly what they want, and the indecisive, who merely goes with the flow. Developing your self-concept requires a healthy environment filled with educated and mature individuals who will accept or even support you. However, not everyone is privileged enough to have that opportunity. You would face constant criticism in a less accepting environment. You will then look for role models or figures that you believe will be acceptable. And then you will attempt to imitate them as a result of this, neglecting your own process. It's challenging to become someone you're not while trying to find identities that are most appropriate for you. You will just torture yourself at this point since you are not living as the unique individual that you are. Celebrities have their own distinct sense of style when it comes to personal branding. This is all part of their work. The more attractive they are, the more audience engagement they gain. Inauthenticity is a possibility in this case. Some influencers are still experimenting with their own personal styles as well. This is also true for people who rely heavily on internet aesthetics, because the internet is merely a tool for discovering who we are. People who become lost in the process can fake their personalities and turn into posers. People rarely evaluate whether they want to change their identity or just see how their community reacts. Again, is the change part of the process of discovering who you want to be, or is it simply a step towards seeking social validation for your style? This brings us back to your ideals and self-concept. Another point to consider is how people constantly overcategorize artistic elements into aesthetic categories. But this happens for a reason. This is due to the fact that we are accustomed to describing things with symbols rather than words, and it is easier for us to correlate objects with figures since our brain prefers to perceive scenes in a visual context. This has an impact on the public, however, which judges people based on their categorized styles. So, for instance, rather than commenting, "Wow, I like your black theme outfit," it's easier to characterize it as an aesthetic. "Wow, you look so emo," even though we're not actually emo. As members of the public, we could describe more than just labeling, but this is due to our responses to aesthetic experiences and the trends that are currently hyped up. However, I don't believe it is necessary to categorize everything into aesthetic groups because it could limit a person's expression and creativity, negatively affecting their mental development, to the point where they experience an identity crisis. So instead of being inspired by specific aesthetics, you will just transform your entire identity into that aesthetic. And once you start admiring another aesthetic, widening out to appreciate anything else can feel like a form of guilt, whether it's a music genre or a fashion trend. People have developed an escapist mentality which adds greatly to our personal style and individualism. Internet aesthetics are not the defined theory of beauty anymore. It has now evolved into a rule book of what to wear, how to behave, and other mannerisms. Teenagers may feel constantly pressured to be flawless and to continually brand themselves in order to fit in with their generation's trends and beauty standards as a result of this aesthetic movement. People should be free to express themselves through different forms of creativity without being compelled to participate in specific scenes or conform to standardized uniformity. Moreover, images on the internet, as well as experiences, people, and outfits, are viewed as something to examine and categorize rather than admired for what they are and as something distinctive. Another common denominator is the depiction of attractive people. Aesthetics like that girl are portrayed as invariably thin, white, and rich, enjoying the idealized lifestyle that not everyone can achieve. This results in subconscious uniformity and misconstrued aspirations encouraged by the portrayal of nearly perfect figures and aesthetics such as it girl, that girl, and so on. The internet is a fast network where we consume content very quickly on a daily basis, with a high level of production and fresh new trends from creators across various social media platforms. With information overloading in mind, how will we break out from this never-ending internet aesthetics loop? As teenagers, we should devote more time to seeking knowledge and educating ourselves on the information we absorb on a regular basis, and not just from limited sources. When we obtain information from the internet, we should double-check it with credible sources. This will assist us in imposing boundaries with our internet knowledge. Now, what about the aesthetics of the internet? Should I keep following them? I still need them for my fashion inspo. The answer is yes, go ahead and do it. Internet aesthetics exist for a reason, but do remember to not limit your search for inspirations. Fashion and self-expression are a melting pot of multiple artistic components. The TikTok generation are young and still finding their feet, so different styles let them dabble into different aesthetics and give them more options to find what works for them. This quote I read on a website really speaks to what we should do in the process of establishing our personal style and identity. To extend our artistic palette, we need to be exposed to a variety of genres and aesthetics. Wisdom K, Neva Rose, and Dila Probokusomo are some of the examples of my personal favorite fashion influencers and TikTokers. They have provided a varied spectrum of looks inspired by numerous aesthetics that do not conform to specific aesthetics and standards. Alright, we have reached the end of the video. The comment section is your thought bubble. Let me know what you guys think. My name is Tanisha, and I do hope you enjoy my talks. Thank you for watching, everyone, and have a great day or night. Bye!